The Mighty Nine animated series released early onto YouTube, and it's only going to be there until Sunday, and it feels both exciting yet oddly restrained. Does it intentionally hold back, or does it struggle to find its footing? Let's start by going into what it did right.
I knew absolutely nothing about this world. It was brought to my attention by Griff. And so when I start the episode, I start seeing elves and they're doing some sort of like enchantment or some magical shit. I dig all that shit, man. I'm into like Lord of the Rings, The Legend of Zelda, all of that stuff.
Oh, for sure.
So for me, it's right up my alley. And there's like the sacrifice. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought they were gonna try to like open a portal or something. And then there's just like a dude like doing a sacrifice, and he doesn't bat an eye. So it's interesting to me. I'm diving into this world for the first time. I'm introduced to these characters. I don't know who any of these dudes are, why they're doing what they're doing. So it's fresh perspective. And it's interesting because of the world, how first of all, the animation's great. I'm a big fan of just good
Oh, yeah.
animation. And this animation is great. The scenery, the places you go on these. And again, I'm the dude that is a big fan of Castlevania, the animated series, and Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and
Yeah.
shit like that. So I like seeing big ass castles and then tunnels and little towns where everything's going to shit. That's the kind of stuff I like. So it was very interesting to me. The beginning of this episode, it caught me right away. I was into it. I was like, all right, why is this dude sacrificing this person?
This is his
What the
wife.
hell's what the hell's going on? Because the only other dude I know that does that is Doctor Doom, and he does it just for power. So this guy's not doing it for anything less than powers. So immediately I was like, all right, why is he doing this, and what's he going to get out of it? So we go on this journey, and we meet not all the characters I'm being told by Griff
Yeah.
that we're going to be introduced with. Again, it's only episode one, but for episode one, there were things that interested me, like the opening sequence, and you get to meet other characters, and there's some of them are learning magic, some of them are learning how to fight, some of them are thieves, and they're just trying to get some coin for the next meal. So I'm interested in where this world is going to go and who these characters become and why they're on this journey.
Yeah, I am not new to the world of Exandria. I haven't seen as much about the Mighty Nine as I have for their other show, Vox Machina. And for those who don't know, both of these shows are based on a D&D campaign done by Critical Role. And I'll go a little bit more into that in a bit. But for this opening and just in the show alone, I do agree with her. I think the opening was very strong. I like seeing all the magic, and I like seeing all the D&D references, even though they're not like shouting spell names. I just think it's fun, like knowing what it is. I like how, and I think this is where a lot of different studios struggle in comparison to Amazon, is we had a D&D movie with Chris Pine that went to theaters. And what many people fail with D&D is D&D is essentially just a way to tell stories. It doesn't always need to be super comedic, or it can be serious. I think Amazon does a really good job of balancing the seriousness of a story as well as the comedy with it. We were introduced to Caleb, Bo, Not, and we got a little bit of Yasha towards the end. I I like their introductions quite a bit. I do think though I was expecting a little bit more oomph and something with a little bit more of a bang after following the opening sequence, getting a little bit more of the chaos that I was expecting from the Mighty Nine. I think they really nailed the characters and the serious storytelling that they have with it. And I definitely get why Amazon's releasing 3 episodes at once on Amazon Prime on the 19th. I totally get that now. Because they'll release this first episode on YouTube for free for those who want to see it to gain some interest from now until Sunday. It's going to be removed after then, so you'll have a limited time to watch it, but if not, it's going to be on Amazon Prime. I definitely get why they're doing 3 episodes. I think this episode is intriguing, but if you are not familiar with the world, as many of you may be, I definitely see why it may lose some people, as it's definitely falls a little flat with some of it, because it's a 45-minute episode, and it does start to feel a lot slower in comparison to the opening scene. We do get a lot of different characters here that are going to play a larger role later. That's not part of the main cast. We get a lot of the Empire versus this religious nation, and we get this mage academy that has a very sadistic archmage, which I really dig. I think that is it's something really interesting and twisted to cut out the fear and pain receptor in a person and then subject him to a lot of pain and
That
then
guy's a
healing
dick.
that pain receptor. That is just twisted. I think the show has a lot of potential to say the least, but I do think watching these first 3 episodes at once probably may be the better way to do it. Especially if you're not familiar with the world. We haven't seen this episodes 2 and 3, but it may give it a little bit more of an oomph. It may hook you a little bit more as the first episode. It's good, but if you're going there for something a little bit more fiery, a little bit more action packed, you may have to wait a little bit longer.
No, I agree with Griff, and I reference Daredevil a lot, but for me, and it happens to me, it happened to me with Daredevil season one. First of all, I didn't want to watch it because of what happened with the movie, and when I did watch it, even though I've now become such a fan of the show because I've always been a fan of the character, but that first episode, and I always tell Griff and most of my close inner circle, they're very surprised when I say this. That first episode, man, it didn't necessarily grip me. I they're I don't want to say they're very lucky because I'm lucky to even have the show. But if the second episode hadn't picked up in the way that it did with that infamous hallway fight and all that stuff, I don't know if I would have stuck around with this show. Although it opened and it's funny because it opens very strong. Like the way it opens, I was like, what the hell's even going on?
Yeah.
But then it starts to die down a bit. There's we go on like 5 or 6 different adventures, if you will, with the mage that she's learning how to be a. She is a mage, right?
I'm talking about Bo?
The chick that's like an apprentice. She's like at that one like.
No, she's a monk.
Okay,
She's
but
not.
she's learning magic, right? Essentially.
No.
No.
No, the only one learning magic's Caleb at this point.
Okay, that's probably the one I'm talking about then.
The guy who summoned the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he's learning magic.
And then there's that's not the same guy that's like a thief, right? Well, not a thief. But
No,
like
there's not.
I don't
The
know. He's
goblin.
like a hobo. Yeah, the one that ends up with like teenage Grogu.
Yeah, that's Caleb. That's the same character.
Okay. And so some of the stuff starts to die down a little bit because there's a lot of dialogue and there's explanation, and so it gets to a point where like I agree with Griffin to the point where like if today we were able to watch the other 2 episodes, I think the little disposition
It's gonna pick
and
up at the
dialogue that
circus.
yeah. So that's for me. I think that's the better way to go. I mean, if you have the chance to, obviously, like today, you want to get a head start on this and watch it, go ahead. But I would have waited if it wasn't for Nerd Doctors for us to be able to watch all 3 episodes together because I just think it would have sunken in more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know any of these characters. I get their names mixed up. I'll probably become a fan. It happened to me with Invincible. Like I just couldn't have cared less about that show if it wasn't for Griff and a friend of ours named Kenny who were like, "Dude, you got to watch it." Now I know. I didn't even. I think it was 3rd episode. I still didn't know who was who, why
And
they
they
were doing
told
it.
you their names at like the very last minute of this episode too. So it's totally fair.
But it is interesting because again, this is stuff that I mean I like swords. I like. There's a name for this genre. What is it called? Like dark fantasy or something like that?
I just call it fantasy. But sure,
So
dark fantasy.
I'm a sucker for all of that stuff. I mean, if you start talking to me about wizards and swords and spells and fucking elves,
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I'm already in. And I like D&D. I remember I never was one of these dudes that like sat down and played for hours with buddies. Because I was also that weird outsider kid who liked nerdy shit, but I also liked playing sports. It was weird because I got it from like my jock friends that were like, "Why are you into that shit?" And then I also got it from like my nerdy friends that were like, "Dude, you're not really one of it." It's fucking weird. They were like, "You're not really one of us because you go out and play with them." But I did play a couple of campaigns. I just my daughter's godfather, he goes out once a month, dude. He
It's
starts.
fun.
I think they start their campaign like at 5 p.m. and they run through that shit till like 3 in the morning.
Oh, I believe it. It's a great
He's
time.
invited me, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I
Sleep's
don't know how
nice,
that's
too.
gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I value my sleep, man. But yeah, this. We'll see. We'll see what the next episode brings. I'm definitely interested in seeing like what happens with these characters and again, why that dude did what he did at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm very excited. If you do see the episode, let us know what your thoughts are. And if you're waiting until the 19th, we will review episode 2 and 3 for you then. We'll see you guys next time.